Hi, I just want to give you a general overview of the chapter content, just a kind of a taste of the book and the ideas discussed. Now, this book is a very interesting read for a contemporary book, and I've actually had a few friends who've asked to read it when I'm done. They were intrigued by some of the content and the concepts. The first chapter talks a lot about how teens appear to do on what they appear to do online seems problematic because it's taken out of context. They interact for social audience for their friends, excuse me. They want to connect and fit in. But the interactions can also be viewed by other people, family members who are kind of on the outside, that conversations are problematic and can produce conflict. That's not really what's going on within those. It's more teens trying to fit into their social setting. Online you can portray yourself as anyone. That's definitely an issue that is discussed. Teens often choose identities based on the types of social media that they're using. They don't develop different identities in so much as they choose to represent themselves in different ways depending on the audience. And I thought that was a really interesting concept. It's not the way that I've looked at it before. Teens post on social media content they think is funny or that gives particular impressions to a narrow audience. So when it's taken out of context, parents in particular, can overreact. There was an example in the book where they had those online quizzes on Facebook, and there was one where the quiz was, "Which drug are you?" And so the student had done it and had come up with cocaine, and it really upset the parents, but that really wasn't the point of the quiz. So it's those type of situations that outsiders can take out of context. The next chapter talked a lot about privacy. Teens desire privacy. We can all remember as kids, signs on our bedroom doors, keep out, MySpace, nobody coming in here. I can remember hiding in a closet and a corded phone. Nothing has changed. Teens still seek privacy. They get frustrated when adults get involved in their social networks. And that's why social media sites keep changing. They want to be wherever the adults aren't. Teens have a conflicting definition of privacy than adults do, and that creates more conflict. Teens also encode meaning as a strategy for navigating and having hidden messages so they can communicate with their friends, have their privacy while still being public. And that's an interesting concept. Some teens see privacy as a right, and others see it as a matter of trust. And I remember that growing up, feeling the very same way, and that hasn't changed at all. There's a lot of discussion about teens being obsessed with social media. And the idea is they're not really obsessed with social media. They're obsessed with their friends. They're obsessed with connecting with each other. People can overdo everything and anything, but it doesn't mean it's an addiction. Teens prefer to socialize in person. When they can't, they spend a lot of time on their social media. Nowadays teens are less mobile than they were in previous generations. There are a lot of people are kept inside their houses. The idea is many places it's not safe to just kind of be out and about, come home at dark. So they socialize in the safety of their own bedrooms. There was a really good quote that I highlighted that I thought really said a lot. Being addicted to information and people is part of the human condition. It arises from a healthy desire to be aware of surroundings and to connect to society. And I thought that was really a powerful quote. I can remember growing up there being lots of different news stories on different trying to catch a predator TV show. All these people are lurking, and so that's kind of how we've all grown up, saying that there are predators online. That's a scary area. Teens and parents fear predators not because of personal experiences, but because of the media, because of these TV shows. Society creates moral panics around different topics, and this is definitely one of them. And these moral panics reconfigure the lives of youth. They make adults, I guess I'm going to say we adults, become a lot more restrictive through our fears. The presence of unhealthy offline relationships may increase the risk of internet-based sexual victimization. So it is out there, but I think, because of the publicity and the TV shows, it's really scared parents and teens, and they're hyper aware and hypersensitive to those situations. And so another really important topic when it comes to social media is bullying, and does it amplify bullying? Does it make it easier to bully? And there's really disagreements, at least as indicated in this book, about the role of social media in amplifying the visibility of bullying. They talk a lot about how the adults see all this crazy bullying, but when asked kids don't really feel like there's a lot of bullying happening in their worlds online. They talk about girls having drama, and they talk about boys doing pranks, but they don't really see it as bullying, which is just an interesting divide. Technology can amplify existing dramas, and it can also create mechanisms for meanness and cruelty, but it doesn't mean it always does. The same mechanism that helps people bond, the social media, the connecting, the friendships, also can create social fault lines, can create divide, can create issues. Spreadable media can be used to drum up productive attention. It can also be used to shame. So that's definitely something to be aware of and monitoring. So I hope you can see this. This is a famous cartoon. I think it might be cut off. It says, on the internet, nobody knows that you're a dog. So the cartoon illustrates how privacy and identity operate positively and negatively online. It can go either way. Cultural prejudice permeates social media. And internet early adopters believed that the internet would be a great equalizer. But they were wrong. Really, cultural prejudice permeates social media. It doesn't make it go away. They're still there. And that is one thing the author really found in her research and talking with different teens in different schools in different areas of the country, that although they didn't feel like there was those cultural divisions, when they really explored and looked at them, they realized there were. It's important to understand how inequalities and prejudices youth share network lives, how they work together within that state. This is a really, a term we've all used, digital native, digital immigrants. It's dangerous to assume that youth are automatically informed. That calling our youth digital natives is really misleading. Rather than assuming that they have innate technical skills, we must work to support students that come from different backgrounds. Children come from different backgrounds and different experiences. We often assume that youth will just absorb all this digital through exposure, and that kind of, makes us feel like we're not responsible for teaching them about the internet and how to use it productively. So youth must still become media literate to critically think about the information that they come across. There's a lot of discussion within this chapter about Google versus Wikipedia versus encyclopedias and the reliability of that, and still needing to verify credibility and sources and all of those types of things, and not just take what's there as base value. And the last chapter talked about the teens' interests on getting meaningful access to public spaces and their desire to connect with peers. That was pretty much the underlying theme through all the chapters. Really, the teens' goal through social media is to connect with peers. And then rather than fighting to reclaim the place and space that previous generations of teens claimed, for example, like the mall, that's where, when I was growing up, everybody would go to the mall. Those were the places people were gathering, different places. They've taken a different approach in kind of creating their own spaces, with whether it be a blog, their Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Those are their own social places. Teens engaging with social media is a way of them engaging in the broader social world around them. So that was pretty quick. It was just a quick overview of all the chapters. I highly recommend this book. It is a very interesting read. It was written at the dawn of some of this social media stuff. Facebook had just started. MySpace was popular, if that kind of gives you an idea of the time frame. But a lot of the concepts that were discussed can be related to any of the social medias, and the dynamics still exist that were discussed. So although it's an older book as far as technological advances, it's still very, very relevant, and I highly recommend it to anyone. Thanks.